Hello, everyone, and welcome to ATP Live Monday. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to ATP Live Monday. For those of you who are joining us on Instagram, you're welcome. For those joining on Facebook, you're welcome. Just let me be sure you can hear me and you can see me clearly. All right, so ATP Live is a program where you get to ask any questions that you may have about the health of your children, and I'll try my best to answer them. We have just 1 hour to do this. Um, so, welcome everyone. I just want to share the video, make sure that everybody can see and hear. So, just give me a couple of minutes to do that, and I want to uh, encourage you to also share the links to your friends on the Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram. Uh, Tell them to join us so that they can also be part of this live session. And as you're coming in, feel free to start to drop your questions as comments on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Active Pediatrician Facebook group, or if you are on any of the other groups or our page, you can drop your questions directly. But if you're in any of our other groups, you will have to click on the video if you have a question to ask, so that you put your question directly under the video and I can see your comments and answer the questions. All right, so what I'm doing now is just making sure we share the videos and making sure everybody can see and can join us. So, and compliments of the season, I guess it's time for us to start wishing everyone compliments of the season. To our American friends, happy Thanksgiving, a belated one. It's still Cyber Monday, I guess, still in the spirit of Thanksgiving, and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in advance to everyone else. Um, so the year is running very close to an end. And like I said the last time, we'll be winding up by the middle of December. By the 17th of December, we will be off for the holidays so that we can also have some time with our loved ones and family members. So, but the group will always be open, so you can always do your own search, and our website will be open. You can always find answers to your questions on your own. There, but we won't have these sessions where it's just us being there. So that will be we'll come back in January 2024, and hopefully um, we can start, and I'm sure we'll have lots of stuff going on. And want to thank those of you who supported us for our ATP school outreaches. We've done quite a lot of outreaches already in many of the schools all over Nigeria. So we're rounding up that, but we hope in the new year we'll be able to do more. So please keep supporting us, keep the support coming. We still need it because our goal is to go to all the secondary schools in Nigeria. So that's a ambitious project, but I think it's well worth it. And we'll appreciate you being our partners, or if you know corporate bodies that can support us for that, please reach out to us and let's also work together. The goal is to make sure our children are empowered uh, with um, with the right information on how to respond to medical emergencies. All right, so that's that. Okay, I think I'm almost done with all my sharing. I'm just spinning, and then we can start. So I can see some questions that are coming in on Facebook, um, on Instagram as well. Okay, so please start to drop your questions. Drop your questions, so we answer them. And I always answer question in the order in which they drop on the platform. So please, if you drop your questions, please don't go away. Please stay along so that you don't be in a hurry to leave. You have to stay long enough to get the answer to your questions so that I do get people say, oh, you didn't answer my question, but I was so sure I answered the question. So most likely maybe the people left at some point and then they came back later on. All right. Okay, so let's start. As usual, I will start on Instagram. Just 1 minute. Just 1 second rather. Just to pin a post. Okay, great. All right, and I think I can see a few one question on Facebook. Okay, so for the purpose of those who are just joining, my name is Bini Salaboyede. I'm a pediatrician. I'm the CEO of Ask the Pediatricians Foundation. And if you don't know us, we are committed to promoting the health and welfare of children globally, especially in Nigeria, where majority of our children are dying from preventable causes. And we do that through our health education and information program, through platform like our social media handles, through program like the one you are listening to right now. And beyond what we do online, we also go offline to do community medical outreaches in indigent communities and also in schools. So that's what we do. So welcome to ATP Live. So this program, you have an opportunity to ask questions and to get the answers live from a pediatrician in hopefully 60 minutes. But just to let you know that if we can't answer your question by the end of the 1 hour slot that we have, you are welcome to go to our Facebook group. It's always open 24 hours every day, Mondays to Saturdays. Only Sunday you won't be able to post, but you can post from Monday to Saturdays and we'll try and answer your questions as soon as we can. We may not be able to answer your questions straight away. It may take us 24 hours, 48 hours. Please, if you have an emergency, go to the hospital. But if it is just health education, something that's not an urgent issue, we will definitely get to answer your questions later on. So thank you so much for being with me this evening. And again, happy Thanksgiving to the Americans and compliments of the season to all of us, and wishing you happy holidays in advance. All right. Okay, so let's start from Mina. Good evening. My baby weighed 3.3 at birth, 14 weeks, 6 kilos, 6 months, 6.9. Is the weight increase not too small? Okay, so your baby is not meant to just be adding weight several times every time you measure the baby. All right, so usually babies double their birth weight at 5 to 6 months and they triple it at 1 year. So your baby's weight is still okay. But at 6 months, you can now start your baby on complementary feeding, and then your baby's weight will be increased. But the weight is fine. At 6 months, your baby's weighing almost 7 kilos, so that is more than enough. There's no need to worry about that. Okay, Fifion, good evening. Good to have you back again. Thank you. All right, I think that's the only question I have on Instagram. So for those of you who are just joining, please ask your questions and we'll try and answer them. All right, I'll go to Facebook while we're waiting for more people to ask questions on Instagram. Good evening, doctor. My baby has been running temperature for 2 weeks. Wow. Okay, you've been to the hospital. She done malaria full blood counts, it's negative, but temperature is still high. Once I give her paracetamol, it will go down and start the next day. So you have to take your baby back to the hospital. 2 weeks is a long time for a child to be having fever. First, I would say take a thermometer and measure that temperature. What is the temperature you are getting is very important. So that's number one. It's okay to give paracetamol. That's number two. But 2 weeks is a long time for your child to be having fever. Malaria will not cause fever for 2 weeks, and there are many other things that can cause fever in children beyond malaria, okay, and beyond what full blood counts will tell us. So your doctors, preferably if you see a pediatrician, they need to do a more extensive workup for the child to know why the child is having persistent fever. All right, there are so many other reasons why a child can have fever, and for the benefits, I always like to make this clarification for my Nigerian audience. So a lot of us, when we hear the word fever, we are almost thinking it's synonymous with malaria. That is not true. In fact, we sometimes we call them together and say malaria fever. Okay, so fever just simply means the child's body is hot. That is just a word. It is not a diagnosis. It's just a description that a child's body is hot. But what is making a child's body to be hot are so many things that make a child's body to be hot. So we have to, malaria could be one of them, but it's not only malaria. Virtually infection in virtually every body parts. It could be eye, it could be hair, it could be throat, it could be, urinary tract infection. So many things could cause fever in children, infection in virtually all the organs, and different kind of infection, viruses, bacteria, fungi, so many things. So we look for the common things, but most of our hospitals, we tend to focus on malaria, malaria, malaria. Yeah, I don't blame them, because malaria is obviously very common in Nigeria. But just to let us know that malaria is not the only thing that will make a child's body to be hot. And if your child's body is hot, given paracetamol for 2 days and the child is still having fever, you have to take the child back to the hospital so that the doctors can now examine the child, look for other causes of fever, because it's definitely not normal for a child to have fever. So the Facebook user, you have to go back to the hospital. 2 weeks is too long. I'm worried about that. All right, let's move on to the next question. Good evening. Please, between honey and sugar, what is preferred for a 6-month-old baby? Okay, thank you for your question. You must never give honey to any child who is less than 1 year. So this is not even up for comparison at all. Honey is not to be given to any child below the age of 1 year. Okay, honey, we all know how honey is made from the bees and all that. It tends to contain a kind of a toxin. We call it Clostridium botulinum toxin. Is something that a particular kind of bacteria makes, and honey tends to have them. For those of us who are older and above the age of 1 year, if you eat that, your body will destroy that toxin and that botulinum toxin, and nothing will happen to, it's contained in a spore, and nothing will happen to you. But for children below the age of 1 year, they do not have the capacity to do that. So what means that if they ingest honey that contain that Clostridium botulinum spores, they can have a very fatal condition we call botulism. In fact, botulism, the child becomes paralyzed, they can't breathe, the child may die from it. It's a very terrible disease. So please do not give honey to your babies at all. Don't give honey to any child who is below the age of 1 year. I know people tend to preach a lot of honey, this, honey, that. There's really no big deal about it, and please do not give it to children below the age of 1 year because of the danger of infant botulism. So don't even convey it at all. And so for your child, if you want to add sugar to the pap, it is fine. Everything is more in moderation. It's not only white sugar, you can use natural sweeteners like dates and all that. So there are other things you can, and it's not every food that needs to have sugar put into it. To cook your rice or your mashed yam or potato, you don't need to add sugar to all those ones. So just be aware that honey is even not up for comparison at all in a 6-month-old. It must not be done. All right. Somebody say I've been trying to post. It's not working. Okay. There are many possible reasons why you may not be able to post in our group. Is when you post, your post has gone to us, but it has not yet been approved. So our group is a post approval kind of a group. So every post goes through the admin and moderator for approval. So don't think because you are posting and you have not seen it, it means it's not working. It may just be that it's waiting for approval. To Facebook, we have what we call admin assist, like automatic Facebook rejection of your post. If you put too many pictures, you can only put one picture in your post. You cannot put some videos from sharing from another group or another platform to a group. So there are many. Just make sure you go through the group rules. Make sure you have not broken any of them. If your account is new and it's now up to 1 month, you won't be able to post in our group, because that's our way of working against those who spam groups, those who just create accounts just to come and spam. And then your account must have a profile picture. So if you don't have a profile picture in your Facebook group, Facebook profile, you won't be able to post in our group. So we use all those things to make sure people that are posting in our groups are genuine people. They are not spammers, they are not bots and stuff like that. So go through our group rules and make sure that you have not broken any of those. There's no reason why you should not be able to post, because you can obviously see and comment. So you're in the group, so there's no reason why you cannot post. Thank you so much. Somebody say, when does baby start rolling? So babies start rolling from 5 to 6 months. So that's fine. Your baby is just 4 months, so there's no reason for you to worry. Most babies roll from 5 to 6 months. Another question: I'm treating my baby with malaria with camosunate erythromycin. Number one, please, let's stop treating our baby's malaria. A lot of mothers do it. We just go buy drugs and start loading the children with it. It's wrong. It's wrong. So if your child does not have fever, your child does not have symptoms of malaria, you have not taken that child to the hospital, they've not done a blood test to confirm that the child has malaria, you have no business giving that child anti-malaria. Please, let's stop it. Okay, some of us, every month you must give anti-malaria, every 3 months you must. No, it's not wrong. Let's stop it. Wait for the child to have fever, have the symptoms. Go to the hospital. They need to confirm that the child has malaria. Like I said at the beginning, it is not every fever that is malaria. Okay, so wait until the child goes to the hospital, have a malaria test done. We have rapid malaria tests that everybody can, any lab can do. They don't need lab scientists to do that one. And if a child has malaria, yes, that's when you need to give anti-malaria. That is number one. Number two, malaria is not treated with erythromycin. Erythromycin is an antibiotic, not an anti-malaria. And we should not be giving children antibiotics when a doctor has not prescribed it. It is very wrong. Your baby is at risk of what we call antibiotic resistance. Okay, when you use antibiotic when your children don't need it, it means their body, when they eventually now need the antibiotics, it may not work. And our Nigerian mothers, we really need to stop it. We are really, really guilty of these things. I see mothers using Zina, using augment. These are antibiotics that I, as a pediatrician, I'm not going to prescribe for the first time when I'm seeing a child who has infection. Well, so if a child even has infection, I'm going to be going for maybe amoxicillin, ampiclos. So it is when that one doesn't work that I'll start thinking of Zina, augmentin. But you see mothers already buying augmentin, Zina. These are very powerful antibiotics. They are not meant to be used anyhow. So, and then when you use Zina, augmentin, and your child is not better, then you come to hospital. What do you want us to use again? We don't have so many antibiotics, and the pharmacists have been telling us we are not making new ones. We don't have new options, so we have very limited number of these antibiotics. So if your child develop resistance to the ones that we have, I've seen children die because none of the drugs are working. Yeah, because we don't have what is going to work anymore because the child is resistant to all the antibiotics. And one of the things that leads to this resistance is this indiscriminate use of drugs. You should never be using those drugs, antibiotics, unless it is prescribed by a doctor. I know we have a country where we are not very disciplined when it comes to regulations. In other places, you cannot just, even myself as a doctor, I cannot just walk into a store and buy an antibiotic when another doctor has not prescribed it for me. That is how things should be. And I think we need, but it is not because somebody wants to be policing us and all that. It's because we really need to do the right things. And using drugs when your children don't need it is dangerous. Honestly, it's dangerous. So we really need to stop. All right. So this mom, number one, stop those drugs, because you've not told me that your child who has been to hospital and a doctor prescribed these drugs for your child. You didn't do that, and you are giving it. All right. So please stop it. All right. If your child is sick, you have to go to the hospital and they have to see your child, and a doctor has to be the one to tell you what drugs to use. I can't see why you are using erythromycin for treating malaria. Number one, that is wrong. So just even stop that one. And malaria treatments, there are a lot of things that doctors think about before we give drugs. Okay, we think about reaction, we think about side effect, we think of so many things. We think about dose. Okay, we don't know how old your child is. You've not told us. We don't know how much of it you are giving. Are you giving too much? Are you, is your child maybe reacting to one of those drugs? Who knows? So these are things that every doctor who needs to prescribe medication has to be conscious of. So, madam, you need to, I don't know whether it's a madam or a mister, but you really need to stop those drugs and go back. If your child is actually sick, you have to take that child to the hospital. A child who is weak, who is sleepy, that child needs to be in the hospital. That child is not for you to be self medicating. These are very, very dangerous practices. I've actually done a topic presentation on dangerous practices that we do. One of them is this use of medication indiscriminately. So please stop, take your child to the hospital, and let the doctors tell you what to do. All right, let me just check Instagram before I continue. Okay, I will come back to Facebook. Let me just give Facebook people a break. I'll come back. Okay, Fifiam is asking, good evening, ma'am. God bless you. Thank you. My baby of 3 weeks pulls every 10 minutes. Every 10 minutes? Okay, what do you feed your baby? Every 10 minutes is done eating. Number one, if your baby eating every 10 minutes, because that will be too frequent for a 3 weeks old baby. Baby is not supposed to be eating every 10 minutes. All right, so I want you to be objective. So for us as doctors, I know mothers will say some of these things. I call it mom talk, mom speak, because we just say it the way it seems to us, but it's not necessarily correct. Number one, I'll be worried if your baby is eating every 10 minutes. Then I'll be worried if your baby is pooing every 10 minutes, because that is too frequent. Okay. So if there's nothing wrong with a child passing stools after eating, that is normal. It's a normal reflex. Okay. So babies tend to pass stools because when they start eating, doesn't mean that what they are passing out is the food they just ate. It's just that when children are eating, so the opening from your mouth and down to the opening at the anus is a continuous tube. We call it the digestive tract. And so when you start eating, there's what we call peristaltic waves. There's movements, that is what moves the food down from the mouth to the esophagus to the stomach, down to the small intestine, large intestine, rectum, and the anus. So that waves, usually the rectum is where the stools are stored before they are eventually, passed out when the child has the urge. So when children are eating, that wave starts, moving. Even adults sometimes feel it as well. Then you feel that urge to go and use the toilet. We use a reflex. We call it gastrocolic reflex. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that, you as an adult, you can control yourself and say, okay, I will wait until this time to do it. But in children, they may just like to pass their stool, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with the child passing stools immediately after feed. That is number one. Number two, for your 3 weeks old baby, we expect them to breastfeed on demand, but definitely not every 10 minutes. If your child is sucking every 10 minutes, it means you are not breastfeeding effectively, because when you breastfeed well, make sure your baby is well latched to the breast, your baby empty the breast, that baby should sleep not less than 2 to 3 hours. So the baby next food will be around 2-3 hours after the last meal. So if after your baby is going to pass to maybe every 2-3 hours, that is fine. And baby can pass to 8 to 12 times a day. That is absolutely normal. Babies on exclusive breastfeeding, they don't pass they don't always have to pass like the normal kind of stool that adults pass, like well-formed stool. They tend to pass a mix of liquid and solid. I tend to use the word egusi soup to refer to it, the way you have some chunks of solid and some liquid mixed with it. That is absolutely normal for babies on exclusive breastfeeding. It does not mean they have diarrhea, and they can pass their stool up to 12 times a day. It does not mean they have diarrhea. That is normal for their age. So, but I worry about your baby passing stool every 10 minutes because I want to know whether your baby is sucking every 10 minutes. I really want you to be very factual and objective so that we know what is going on. Okay, what should babies when should babies head start having balance? I'm not sure I understand that. When should baby head? Do you mean when have balance? Do you mean neck control? What, like when should the baby's neck be able to stay without falling backwards? We call it neck control or head control, and so usually that is around 3 months. So most babies start having neck control around 3 months. That means that when you carry them, their neck is not dropping to one side. It's straight in the middle and it moves with the rest of the body. That should be from 3 months. And by 4 months, it should be fine. If your baby does not have neck control at 4 months, you have to see a pediatrician. That is when we expect you to do that. All right. Okay. If just clarify whether that's what you are asking. I just assume that's what you are asking. So let's go to the next person on Facebook. What should be the cause of my baby having the urge to vomit every morning? So how old is your baby? 9 months old. A 9 month old should not be vomiting every morning. That is not normal. Okay. So the question is, when do you feed your baby? How often do you feed this baby and all that? Do you give solid food in the middle of the night? So for a 9 month old, we expect them to have 3 meals of complementary feeds, and in over the night you don't need to give them complementary feeds, you just breastfeed them. So I don't expect them to be vomiting. So if your child is having the urge to vomit every morning, you have to take the child to the hospital to know why that is, because that is definitely not normal. Okay. 9 months old is refusing to eat, so you have to go through our complementary feeding on how to go about complementary feeding and all that. 95% of his food is breast milk. What should be done to make him eat and have less urge to vomit every morning? You need to know why the child is vomiting first, so you may want to check that with your doctors first and make sure you're doing the right thing. Then the complementary feeding, we have lots of guides, videos that you can watch on how to go about complementary feeding. Number one, you need to know the quantity of food to give, the frequency of food, how to mix it, what are you giving, how are you giving it. All those information are quite important. So I'll always recommend first that you go through that so that you have the tips. And please, when you are going through these videos, please don't do them as when you're multitasking. I know we women, we multitask a lot. I do it the same. We're watching videos, but we're also cooking. We're also doing work. Please, when you're going through the complementary feeding videos, please sit with it and just watch it well. Because a lot of you, let me not say a lot of you, a lot of people will come and tell me, oh, I've watched it, doesn't answer my questions. And even because I have watched the video myself, I uploaded the videos, I know what is in that video. So if you've watched it and you don't watch it well, you will miss all the salient points. It's something you're watching and be taking notes of. So if you don't do it properly, you will miss the salient points. And from the question people ask, I will know straight away whether you watch the video or not, even from your question, because I know what answers have been provided. Of course, it's not going to give you any magic formula or tell you the kind of food you should be giving it's not going to tell you this is a meal timetable. It's not going to tell you this is a drug you should give your baby and your baby will start eating. That's not what you're going to get. What you're going to learn is the principle on how to go about complementary feeding. It's going to tell you the quantity of food you're going to give your baby. It's going to tell you how often you need to feed your baby. It's going to tell you about the different classes of food, the carbohydrate, the protein, and all that. It's going to tell you how you need to mix them, how to make sure that each meal is complete, is balanced, like we used to say in those days. Those are the things you're going to learn from there. What is the texture? How do you move from 6 months? How do you move to, by the time your child is 1 year, by the time your child is 2 years? It's going to tell you what food you should not give your baby. A lot of everybody can maybe take Martina, can maybe take biscuit, can maybe take cheese balls. That is wrong. Why are we interested in giving our children junk food? Then the next question will be, after 1 month, my baby is only taking biscuits and tea, won't eat food. Who gave the child biscuits? Who gave the child all those junk food? We started it. So those are the things. It's going to tell you what you are not supposed to give your baby. Those are the things that you're going to learn. So A lot of people ask me for meal timetable. I'm not going to give you a meal timetable. You need to know the principles, and then you can now decide these are the things we eat in our home culture. These are the things we eat we in that videos. You're going to in those videos. Sorry, you're going to see, you will never see them use anything that they sell in the stores or in the can. You're going to see them use food that you have in your own kitchen, cooked and given to those children. Those things are very, very deliberate. You will never see them use any formula or thing or formula as milk in those videos. They want you to understand that everything you need to give your child as complementary food, they have what you have in your kitchen. And then a lot of people will come and ask and say, oh, but my baby likes to eat the family food. He doesn't want to eat pap and Cerelac or whatever, all those things that people give. It's because you've not watched those videos. Because if you watch those videos, there is nowhere where they say you should only be giving your baby pap or you should only be giving this particular brand of cereals and all that. It is those food. So that's why I tell people that if you ask questions and you tell me you watch the videos, I will straight away know, because the question you ask will tell me whether you have done it or not. And it's very important. I feel it's a lot of people, we struggle because we don't understand those principles. And there's no magic formula. If you're looking for a magic formula and they say you just give your child this kind of food, your baby will be big, your baby will be all those things, you better watch what they've put inside and causing problem for your children. I run away from them. All the food your children need are in your kitchen, the same food you are eating. What you really need to know is the quantity, the texture, the frequency, and how do you mix them together. And you can make your own timetable by yourself. That is how it works. So, and patience. Some of us were always in a hurry. We just want the children to eat all the food. Some children are very good. Anything you give them, they take. Some children are a little more fussy, and it's normal. That is variety of life. All of us are not going to be the same. So you just need to be patient. But the most important thing is that children are not going to starve, and they still eat. And sometimes people say my baby is not eating. It's not because your baby is not eating the quantity that you think your child should eat. And that quantity may even be too much already. So you need to understand what is the right quantity for a 9-month-old, because it's not the same quantity you are giving your child as milk, like even express breast milk or breast milk, that you are going to give as solids. So the quantity is not the same. Some of you are used to your baby taking 150 mils of breast milk and all that. When you start complementary, your baby is not going to take 150 mils of pap or porridge. No, that is too much. Okay, they just need to start with half a cup, which is like 50 mils. If you put this in that quantity, so it changes as well. So these are all the principles behind it that we want people to know, so that when you know that, then it is easier for you to be able to address complementary feeding. So I will recommend, I think the Facebook is okay, you're not on our Facebook group, but even on our Facebook page where you are, if you go through our videos, those complementary videos, they are the very, very first set of videos. So they'll be towards the end of the list of videos. But if you go to our group, we've already put it together in one guide 2, and it's very helpful. And the earlier we get to do complementary feeding, better, because some of us will now start struggling when the children are 1 year, 2 years, because then they still only want to take your pap, and because that's what you were giving them all along for the 6 months, 6 to 12 months. Then you now suddenly expect them to transform to eating a and semo. They won't. So that's why you have to get it right from the beginning. So I always recommend that we all watch those videos so that we get it right. Okay, Onwe Amanda, good evening. My baby has been stooling since Friday, not too watery. Okay, not too strong. Okay, so Onwe, I need you to make up your mind. Your baby's stool is either watery, hard, or normal. You have to make up your mind. One, not too watery, not too strong. I don't know what you want me to make out of it. Okay, and for us, if the child's stools are not watery and not hard, then it is normal. And if it is normal, it is not stooling. I know what you meant by stooling, like your child is having diarrhea, then it is not stooling, because a child who is passing normal stool, doesn't matter how many times a day, is still normal, as long as it is normal stool. We only worry if your child is passing watery stool too many times a day, that is diarrhea, or your child is not passing stool at all, and when the child passes stool, it is hard. that is constipation. So those are the three options available. It's either your child has diarrhea, or your child has normal stool, or your child has constipation. So you have to make up your mind where it is. So because I'm not sure which one it is. It's not too watery, it's not too strong. That sound normal to me, and that means your child is fine, and there's no reason for you to give zinc, give floranum, or give the anything, because that is not diarrhea. Because you say your child is stooling but the texture is not watery, then it's not diarrhea, it is not stooling. There's no need for that child to be treated with anything. Okay, so maybe you should just pay more attention to what you're giving your child. Make sure you pay attention to hygiene, give normal food, avoid junk food. That is what I'm going to recommend. So, but you have to really make up your mind. And how do you know whether the stool is watery or hard? I used to have a stool chart. So I don't know whether. Okay, let me see whether I can show you on the picture. Okay, yes. Okay, I have a stool chart. If you are, let me remove your comment so you can see my stool chart. So we have what we call this Bristol stool charts. For those on Instagram, sorry, you moved to say it, but those on Facebook can say it now. So there's a type 1 stool. So type 1 stool is hard clumps. So your child is passing stool, but they are coming in small round like pellets, like nuts, like granules, like that's how the stools are coming in small bits. That is actually very hard stool. Or your child who have stool that looks very big and lumpy, like cobblestone, like something on it, that is type 2. And then you have the type 3 where it is um like corn, corn, like cup of corn, the way it looks like. Then you have what look like a sausage, is smooth and straight, but all together, that is a normal stool. So anything 3 or 4, we prefer fours, for the type 4 kind of stool. And then you have the type 5 and type 6, and the type 7 is actually when the stool is completely liquid, and that is diarrhea. So for Onway, if you're still watching, you can quickly tell me which type is your baby's stool on this stool chart. Then I will tell you whether your baby has diarrhea or constipation or normal stool. So that's what you really need to know. But it sounds to me like your baby is having normal stool, and there's no reason for you to give anything. No need to give zinc, floranum, So whether your baby passed stool 8 times, 10 times, as long as it's normal stool, it is not stooling and doesn't require any treatment. Okay, I think I should remove the stool chart for those on Facebook. Okay, let's go back to comments. Okay. Okay, I think we found somewhere. Okay, say Goody say, can a 6-month-old eat Irish potato? Yes. So Goody, you need to go and do that complementary feeding course, because again, this is exactly what I'm saying. There is no food that your baby cannot eat. Okay. It's just that when you want to give Irish potato to a 6-month-old, you're not just going to boil potato and give baby potato like that. You need to match it. Okay, you're going to match it. And of course, potato is not going to stand alone. You need to add some things to it. You need to add maybe crayfish to add protein to it. The potato is like carbohydrate. You need to add crayfish to it. You can do some other things. There are different ways you can add other things to it, and then give to your child. So these are the things we need you to understand. So there is no food, because somebody was asking that, oh, Dr. Pim, you always say your child can eat adult food, and because people tend to talk about children food, baby food, adult food. There is no baby food. There is no adult food. I know what mothers meant by that, really, though. But what we're saying is that any food can be given to children, but what matters is the texture. I'm not saying for your 6-month-old baby, the first food you want to give them is a bar. No, but that baby can eat even that bar, but there's a way you're going to make it that is not going to look like that. But of course, what I'm saying is, so when you're starting at 6 months, you want to give them something that is more porridge-like, or matchy, and then as they get bigger towards 9 months, you give them something a little bit more solid. but cut into smaller, very tiny pieces. And by the time they're about 1 year, we expect them to eat everything the rest of the family is eating. So it's a texture. So your rice can be made into what look like porridge. Your yam, your potato, you can do all that. You can mash, you can puree, you can add other things to it. So just there are many ways in which we can make them, different from like the same yam you make into like yam porridge is different if you are going to make it into pounded yam. That would be for the older child. But at the beginning, it's going to be like yam porridge you're going to give to like a 6 month old. So if you watch all those videos, all these are really clarify. And I think that's what we're saying. So when we say family food, we're just talking like normal food. Okay, but the way you present it in terms of texture is what is going to be different. And in terms of quantity is what is going to be different. But there is no food that you cannot give. I'm talking of the raw solid now, but you now need to now make it into a texture or format that is appropriate for your, depending on the age of your child. And all those things are clearly clarified there. Okay, let me just go to Instagram so I can answer the questions quickly. Okay, I think Fifiam is still clarifying that. Thank you, man. The pool is sometimes every 2 hours, and it doesn't matter. Yeah, I was worried when you say every 10 minutes. Is it okay when the food comes out from the nose? Of course, we don't want food coming out from the baby's nose. Baby can have what we call reflux. So reflux is, I always explain babies when the space between the baby's nose and mouth and the stomach is really short, okay? And the what we call the sphincters that normally block, when you eat, what stops you? That is why people can turn on their head and eat and nothing will happen to them, is because there are sphincters that when your food goes from your what we call the food, the gullet or the esophagus to your stomach, there is something like a sphincter that will block it so that the food in the stomach that is being digested does not go back into the esophagus and come out through your nose, all right? Unless you're vomiting when it will be forcefully opened. So for babies, that sphincter is not yet well formed, and the stomach is small, and the gap between all those spaces is also very small. So what happens is that most of us, when we feed, and babies are usually lying flat, they are not in an upright posture like I am sitting up now. So most time when we finish feeding our baby, we tend to put them flat. So you think about it, liquid food in a small stomach, no sphincter blocking it, it's very easy for the food to go back to the esophagus and then come back through the mouth or nose. It's a continuously open kind of tract. So that's why babies tend to have reflux because of all these reasons that I said. So what we normally recommend is that when you finish breastfeeding your baby, don't go and put them flat straight away. Try keep them in an upright posture so that the gravity will keep the food in the stomach for a while, and then the digestion process can start. Of course, a little bit of it will still come back, but it won't be as much like everything. So if everything is always coming back, coming from the nose, the baby can aspirate, and that can be dangerous. So make sure you keep your baby upright, help them to express their gas, bop them up, and at least 15 to 30 minutes before you put them down. So as babies get, by the time they start taking solid food at 6 months, the reflux tends to get better. Some people tend to have it worse than the other. Some people really have what we call severe gastroesophageal reflux disease, which is really, we need to now do something about. We need to give them medication to kind of slow down the things so that it doesn't return. Some children may even need surgery, but usually those children tend to have the severe one. They are vomiting and they are not gaining weight and all that. But most children, what they have is just what we call spit ups, is just normal reflux, and it is fine. But it should not be so forceful that is coming out through the nose and coming out through your mouth. So make sure you don't put your baby down straight away after you feed them. Try to keep them upright 15 to 30 minutes before you put them down. That will reduce it. And by the time most of them start solid food, and by the time they start sitting up again, and the incidence of reflux will be down a lot. Okay, I guess Fifian, you must be a first time mom because you have so many questions. All right, which is fine, no worries. Engineer David, okay, good evening. My baby was born preterm. She's 4 months, 2 weeks, 4 months, 4 days today. Okay, each time she runs temperature, we give her paracetamol. Is it okay? And vitamin C drops. Is it okay for us to switch to? Okay, your baby is 4 months. Your baby 4 months old can switch. Doesn't have to take paracetamol drops. Baby should take paracetamol syrup. Okay, so drops are for the newborn, the neonates, the first 1 month of life. After 1 month of life, you can give them the syrup. Okay, but the child should not be running temperature all the time as well. I worry if your preterm is running temperature all the time. No, that's not so good. So I hope your preterm is being followed by your pediatrician. Every preterm baby has to be followed up by a pediatrician because there are other issues that they are prone to, complication that they can have, and we need to monitor that. So they shouldn't be having fever all the time. Then another thing for preterm babies that mothers, parents tend to overcover them a lot because when they are very small, we told you to keep them warm, because they cannot maintain their body temperature very well. But once they start getting bigger, please don't keep on overdressing them and all the time, because that may actually cause fever on its own, and you think child is having fever, whereas you are the one causing it by too much clothes. And so you have to use common judgment to know when to reduce. If your child is sweating, their hands are warm, that's too much. Just take it off. Take off the socks, take off the main things, take off the extra layers. So just use your common judgment to do it. In the first few weeks of their life, because they are so tiny, they cannot control the temperature. So we are the one trying to keep them warm. Sometimes we do kangaroo, we use hot water and all that. But once they are bigger, 4 months, no, we don't expect you to keep doing the same thing, because then you may cause them to start having fever. Okay. 6.1, that is one when it's big. The 6.1 can take paracetamol syrup. Excuse me. All right. Funky Beauty, good evening. Shami for King. Why are EBL babies always don't like eating at all? I don't think that is true. That is just an assumption that you make based on your experience. That is not how doctors make comments. Okay, so we don't make comments on because you have one baby, one experience, then you generalize it to all EBF babies. You have not done a research. So for you to be able to tell us that, you have to study all the EBF babies and tell us how many of them don't like to eat, and tell us that maybe 80%, 70% of them don't like that. And that's when your assumptions will be correct. But it's not correct, okay? There are a lot of EBF babies that are eating. The fact that one baby is fussy with food has not to do with exclusive breastfeeding. Babies who are formula fed, some of them don't like to eat as well. In fact, contrary to your assumptions, babies who are exclusive breastfed tend to eat better because they taste all those food their mothers are eating, the rice, the yam, everything. The baby's already tasting it in breast milk. That is the honest truth. That is actually the research evidence, not an assumption. But whether EBF or formula fed, any baby can be fussy with food. It has absolutely nothing to do with exclusive breastfeeding. If at all, exclusive breastfed babies tend to get to eat solid better than babies who are not exclusive breastfed, and that is research, that is evidence. Okay, so don't get upset because when you make such assumptions, then you're going to go tell another mother who wants to breastfeed that don't breastfeed your baby because your baby will not eat. I see a lot of mothers tell us that's what people tell them, but that is wrong. That is not true. Okay, so some of us also do exclusive breastfeeding and our babies are eating. So you don't make generalization based on your personal experience. That is the difference between science and other things. Everything has to have evidence before we say, okay, yes, that's how it is. All right. Okay, so let's go back to Facebook. Where did we stop? Okay, yeah, we've answered that. We've answered. Yeah, Irish potato, yeah. Okay, Miriam is asking, my baby of 4 years used to chop with saliva in her mouth. That's very unusual for a 4-year-old. I used to deworm her. I've not experienced this before. There's no reason why your baby should be talking with saliva in her mouth. Tell the baby to spit out. And if it continues, you may want to see the doctors, or you may want to see a dentist. They may want to check, what is going on. But There are other conditions that could be causing all that. Maybe the child cannot swallow easily. Maybe there's something in the throat, whatever. So you have to see a doctor, but it is not what we expect from a 4-year-old. All right. Hello, ma'am. My daughter of 2 years, 12 years, is complaining of knee pain and headache. She's genotype AA. What could be the cause of knee pain? There are many things that could make a child to have knee pain. All right. So, did she fall? Did she have any injuries? Is she doing any serious sports or anything like that? So, these are the kind of questions you ask children who are going to school, because sometimes they don't tell you I had a fall or somebody kicked me or something like that. She will just be telling you my leg is paining me, but you have to ask those questions. All right, is the area warm? Some children can have arthritis, so arthritis is not something that only old people have. So children can have what we call juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. There's so many things. So you need to take your child to a doctor for proper evaluation to know why the child is having knee pain. There are so many conditions. There are conditions like rheumatic fever. There are many, many things that can present with knee pain. And even in Nigeria, you may even have to do genotype again, because there are lots of fake genotypes people carry up and down. So I'm not saying your child is SS. I'm just telling you that sometimes we also check all these things again to be sure. So, but you have to see a doctor first. They can do the proper evaluation, examine the child, then they will tell you what they think, and then they will. So it doesn't mean that only those who are SS have knee pains. That is the assumption you are making by saying, "Oh, my daughter is genotype AA," as if it's only those who are SS that will have knee pain. That's not true. There are other conditions that can affect those who are AA and cause knee pain as well. So don't make that assumption at all. Abiola, can cold cause nose congestion in newborn? When you say cold, what do you mean by cold? Like temperature being low and all that, and cause them to breathe fast? If that's what you meant, not necessarily, no. So, a child who is breathing fast may have issues, but then again, a lot of people assume that newborn babies are breathing fast because you're comparing their breathing to your own, but newborns tend to breathe faster than adults. Okay, so newborn babies breathe 60, averagely 40 to 60 cycles per minute, while an average adult breathes only 10 to 12 times. So sometimes mothers say, "Oh, my baby is breathing fast," but when we count it, it is still normal. So because it's difficult for parents to count respiratory rates, so it's better when you think, if you think your child is breathing fast, you have to see a doctor. Then we will do the counting and the examination and tell you whether it is fast or it is normal. So that is number one. All right. So what you are describing your baby is what we call periodic breathing. When baby breathe fast, then they stop, and then so if your baby born preterm, let me say, no, if your baby was not born preterm, it is not normal. That periodic breathing is only a preterm baby thing. So your baby is 4 kilo at birth. So I assume your baby was born at normal time, so that baby should not be having periodic breathing. So you really need to check the child. If your child is breathing fast, you have to go to the hospital and see. Yeah, and you are hearing the breathing. No, I think you just have to take this child to the hospital and let the doctor examine the child for you. All right. Sometimes maybe stretches a lot while awake more than when asleep. I always so why should baby be stretching? Should maybe be stretching when sleeping. They don't stretch when they are sleeping. They move their body only when they are awake. Now that sounds normal to me. So I'm not sure why you are worried about it. Do you expect baby to be moving when they are sleeping more than when they are awake? That doesn't sound, unless what you are describing as stretching is not stretching. So because sometimes mothers use a lot of words and you just send us in a different direction entirely with your description. So sometimes I prefer, if you see a movement and you think it's worrying you think it's not looking normal, just do a video of it and let us see it, because you use the word stretching, which sound normal to me. It's okay for anybody to stretch their body, to move their body. But if your child is having a movement and you think this doesn't look normal, then I'll recommend you do a video of it. Thank God all of us have video cameras now. So, I mean, camera phone, that's what I mean. So you can just take a 1 minute video of that stretching and post it to us, or show your doctor in the hospital and let them tell you whether this is normal movement or is abnormal movement. That is number one. My baby suckles a lot, he hardly gets satisfied. How old is this your baby? I always start with the age of the baby. Da, da, da. I can't see the age. Okay, it'll be 1 month by Wednesday. Okay, so 1 month old baby sucking a lot, doesn't get satisfied. I breastfeeding recently started giving water. No, please stop the water. Okay, just stop the water. Water does not augment anything. Water is going to cause more problem. Your baby is not getting enough breast milk. Adding water is like you are diluting the little breast milk. So the breast milk is 70% water, so it doesn't need any extra water. And then we start going to a problem of how the contaminant. Anyway, they just know water, please. All right. So yeah, I tried breast milk. I can finish 15 minutes ago and want to take more. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. So number one, a lot of mothers have difficulty knowing whether their baby is getting enough breast milk or not. Okay, and a lot of you think, oh, the fact that your baby always want to suck more means they are not getting enough breast milk, they are not satisfied. I think we need to for address that. Okay, I always start by saying babies suck for a lot of reasons. And hunger is not the only reason why babies suck breast, okay? A lot of mothers say, oh, my baby is always sucking, 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 want to suck more. Babies suck because they want to suck. So it is not everything is because they are hungry. And some of you have even told me, which is why that's why I can always use it to explain to some of you. Because some of you will say, oh, they are not getting enough. Then you still give them formula on top and they are even vomiting it and they still want to suck more. I think that is very clear to you then that if baby's tummy is full, overflowing, vomiting, and baby still want to suck, I think that shows you that it is not about the food. It's not about the tummy not being full. It's not about not getting enough milk, okay? Babies suck for many reasons. Of course, they suck to eat when they are hungry, which is the one that all of us know as mothers. But babies suck for comfort as well. Okay, so for example, when we want to do procedure for babies in the hospital, we want to do minor surgeries and stuff, we just make them to suck on something. We give them glucose water on the cotton wool and we get them to suck it. That is how we give them analgesia, sucking. So sucking is a pleasurable thing for babies. They just love sucking because it's very pleasurable. So baby also suck for pleasure. Then baby also suck to have that bonding with their mother, that they just want to feel you, they just want you to be near them, so they just want you around, and that you are the only person that have breast milk and you are the only one, so they know that, so they just want to be close to their mother. So babies suck for comfort, they suck for security, for warmth, to be close to their mother. They suck when they want to sleep, they suck when they are bored, they suck for so many reasons. So the fact that a baby wants to suck and suck and suck does not mean the baby is always hungry. All right, so that is number one. So let's just take that away. And quickly, let me add to that also the same thing about crying, because people think when a baby cry and cry, it means baby is hungry and baby wants to suck. It means I'm not lactating enough. It is not true. Baby cry because that's the only language they speak at that age, and they cry for everything. They cry when they are hungry, they can cry when they are full, they can cry when they are hot, they can cry when they are cold, they can cry when they are bored, they can cry when they want to sleep, they can cry for absolutely no reason, they can cry even when they are happy. So baby cry because that's the only communication they have at that age. There's no other communication, so it's okay for babies to cry. Their nappies are wet, they're going to cry. That's the only way they get your attention. They want your attention, they're going to cry. Okay, so it does not always mean they are hungry. So let's also address that. So also have that at your back of your mind, then you know that your baby crying or your baby always wants to suck does not necessarily mean because you are not lactating enough or your milk or they are not satisfied. That is the wrong assumption we always make, and this is what led some people not to do exclusive breastfeeding, and they go to formula, and obviously some will still do the formula, and the problem is not so because the assumption was wrong in the first instance. All right, so I hope that is clear. So how do you now know whether your baby is actually satisfied or not? Because the most important, let me just put it this way, for us as pediatricians, the most objective way to know that your baby is getting enough breast milk or satisfied in quotes is baby is gaining weight. A child who is eating well will gain weight. A child who is not getting enough milk will not gain weight. End of story. That is the most objective method to know whether my baby is getting enough breast milk. And it's not by you feeling them, because before they eat, they will feel light in your hand. When they eat, because you've added liquid into their tummy, they will feel heavy. And so when you so mother says, my baby is always heavy at some time and light at some time. So it's not by your hand, it is by we put them on the scale. That's why when you go to hospital for anything, we put your baby on the scale and we can monitor the weight. That is how. Of course, but you can't always weigh your baby every day. Some of you don't have scales at home. You need to check, am I bringing out enough breast milk? All right. So if you're able to express 60 mils of breast milk, okay, and your baby is going to finish that, your baby is getting enough. Because for you, I don't know what's the kilo of your baby. Let's even say 4 kilos. So a 4 kilo baby just needs to take about 400 mils of breast milk in a day. All right. So 400 mils of breast milk divided by 8. So that's about around 60 per every meal. That is 60, 70 per meal. All right. So if your baby is taking 60 mils of breast milk every 3 hours, that is more than enough for that baby for a day. So the baby does not need to take 200 mils to be full. Even if the baby takes the 60 mil and the baby still wants more, it is not because baby has not gotten enough milk to satisfy the baby. The baby just wants to suck. And let me tell you, your baby always suck more than what you can express, because the sucking is an active process, whereas when you are expressing it, you are forcing it. Whereas when the baby suck, they draw it. That's why some of you will feel it when your baby suck on the breast. You see the thing get eventually leaving your body. So that is how you know that your baby is getting enough breast milk. So what the most important is for you to know that you are lactating. If you are lactating, you press your breast, the areola side, you press it, you see your milk coming out. You are lactating. Your breasts are, you feel it fill up, and when your baby sucks, you feel it's empty. Then your baby have enough breast milk. And as the baby sucks, the breast empties. You can breastfeed with both breasts at each meal. It doesn't matter. So that means your baby is getting enough breast milk. So you don't have to worry. Your baby is trying to suck and suck does not mean your baby is not satisfied. And please don't give water. Just give the breast milk only. Okay, and you can breastfeed at least every 3 hours. Just make sure your baby is well attached to the breast. Make sure you're not just putting only the nipple part. I actually need to get a model at a point so that I always have it here. Just make sure it's not only the nipple. Make sure you have the whole of the areola in the mouth. You should feel your breast fill up before you breastfeed. You should feel it's empty. Then you can transfer to the other side, and that's it. So don't go by, actually when babies are still learning to suck in that first 1 month of life, they are very fussy. They just want to nurse all the time. They just want to be sure that breast milk is not running away. You are the breast milk bank. So when they don't see you or feel you for a while, they start getting panicky that, where's my food supply? So that's what they're looking for. So it's part of bonding. You're also trying to bond with your baby and all that. So that is not an explanation for baby is not getting enough breast milk. No, the baby is getting enough milk, but baby can suffer for other reasons. Baby can cry for other reasons. And when you come to us for your immunization at 6 weeks, we put your baby on the scale. We see the weight is up there. We know the baby has been getting enough breast milk. If the weight is the same or the baby is losing weight, we know the baby is not getting enough breast. That's how we know. Okay. Sometimes we even ask you to express it so that you can see because sometimes because we don't see how much baby is sucking, we start to panic it. So to think, maybe I'm not lactating enough. Unfortunately, that is actually dangerous because once you start to panic and you start to get anxious about your breastfeeding, then your milk automatically starts to reduce because you are producing what we call stress hormones, cortisol, and the rest of them, and they block your breastfeeding hormones, which are supposed to make you to produce breast milk. So, which is why we say, mothers, don't worry, don't stress, just relax. Put your baby to the breast. You got it. You can do it. And let your baby suck. Think happy, good, nice thoughts of your baby. Your milk will start to flow. It is hormone. It is brain. Your milk is produced in the brain, not in your breast. That is the truth. So you really need to understand that. So anything that mess up with your brain will mess up with your breast milk production. So just relax. You can breastfeed your baby and you got it. And if you want to know more information, just watch all those breastfeeding videos. All this information they are there and they show you videos how to attach your baby to the breast and all that. Once you are doing that, your baby will be fine. So your baby is getting enough breast milk, just breastfeed the baby. Don't give water, breast milk only. All right, I think that's all the breastfeeding talk for today. Okay, let's just go to the next question. 6 months old eats Irish potato egg yolk. Yeah, that's fine. And by 3 p.m. I give her nutrient. That's too much. All right. So your baby who is 6 months old needs to take only 2 complementary feeds a day. The rest should be breast milk. At 6 months, the baby's food is still mostly breast milk, 80% breast milk, only 2 meals of complementary feeds a day. You really need to watch all those breastfeeding videos. Number two, when we are starting complementary feeding, don't give all these mixed product that they've added this, added that, added that. If your child reacts to any of them, you will never know which one your child is reacting to. So we always recommend that you give every new food alone first. So the first day you are going to give any new food, you give it alone. Don't give it as a mixture. So you know that this is what my child is reacting to. Because some children can react to nuts, some children can react to all these even fish, crayfish, and all that. Children can react to anything. So avoid starting complementary feeding with all this Nutribon, whatever. What I've forgotten the other name. But you know what I mean? They'll mix so many things together. That's not the first kind of food to start your baby. You don't need, again, back down to, you don't need to buy anything from the store. Okay, you have your Irish potato in your kitchen, go peel it, and that you have your own pap or ogi, make it and give your baby. You have your own this thing, so give the ogi first, nothing. The next time you can have the crayfish, the next time you can have the egg. You are making sure each time your child is not reacting to anything. And when you give the food first time, give a little spoon, check any rash, anything, nothing, continue. That is how it should be done, because otherwise you will never know when your child is reacting. I'm not surprised your child is vomiting. I've not even read all your posts before I already answer, because that is too much food you are giving your baby. You're giving at 12 noon, you're already giving another one at 3. No, that is not how complementary feeding is done. That is what you do with breast milk, because milk is liquid and it's digested quickly, it's absorbed. You don't do that the same thing with complementary food. Complementary food for a 6-month-old is just twice a day, and it's half a cup, nothing more than that. The rest of that baby's food should still be breast milk. So you've not even given this baby enough time to digest one, you're already going to another one. That is too much. So please, again, go back. I'm happy you are a Facebook user, you are in our group already. Go to the guide section, do the guide to on complementary feeding. Please watch those videos. Pay attention to the quantity, to the frequency of feeds for each age group. 6-month-old, 9-month-old, 12-month-old, 2 years old, everything is there. You really need to know that. So there's no rush, and there is no need for us to be loading these babies with food. No, they don't need as much food in the solid form. The quantity they need is smaller compared to what they need as liquid, because liquid is a lot. And that's why we have to change to solid at 6 months, because if you keep giving breast milk, the amount of breast milk you need to give your baby at 6 months will be like maybe 1 liter. How much stomach? The stomach is just like my fist. It's not going to take a liter of milk. So that is why you now need to give other food that can give more calories, but little, not in a smaller quantity. And that is it. But you don't need to give them that food every 3 hours. No, because you are still going to keep breastfeeding this baby while you are adding the solid. So you really need to be patient with complementary feeding. No rush, not too much. Just do it the way we recommend, and it will be fine. All right. But at least I'm happy that you're doing, you started the complementary feeds and all that. Okay. Current weight, you need to know your baby's current weight too. Because your baby gained only 1 kilo for 14 weeks. There's something not quite right there. But I'll leave that one. That's not the main question. All right. With Stephanie Hokoli, we did the symbols. I can't remember with Stephanie. I can't see Stephanie's question. Okay. What age can a child start to use Golden Mile? Oh no, you people always told me to advertise Golden Mile. I am not going to. Anyway, it's from 3 years. Okay, it's from age of 3 years. Okay. What can make a newborn baby have to be unstable at birth and the baby is crying? Unstable? What do you mean by unstable? Okay, number one, mothers don't, you don't listen to the heartbeat. That's doctors. Is it the doctor that told you your baby's heartbeat is unstable? Because if they are the one, then they should explain to you why. And number two, I'm not sure what you meant by unstable, to be honest. So, is it too fast? Is it irregular? Or it's not? Those are the kind of words we use when we talk about heartbeats, not which can all be unstable, but it's we need to be clearer. But I want to believe that you are in a hospital and your doctors are there, so they are the best to answer that question. All right. Well, I've always been worried. I'm not sure what all of you are worried about. You need to tell us. At what age does a baby stand and crawl? Crawling averagely 9 months, standing averagely 11 months to 12 months. That's it. So, but key emphasis on the word average. Average. All of us are not average. So some people will do things faster, okay? Some people will do things a little bit later. I always give the analogy of all of us are not Dangote, but most of us are also not under the bridge, sleeping under the bridge either. So everything is a is a range, okay? So maybe so when I say 9 months for crawling, I'm talking about 50% of babies. So babies will crawl earlier than 9 months. Some babies will not crawl at all. And some people will crawl maybe at 1 year, But there's a time where we start to get worried. So for me, crawling is not really an issue because some babies never crawl anyway. They just move with their bum. But if your child is not walking by 18 months, that is where we want to see your baby. That's when the pediatrician will start to worry about it. Otherwise, there's no reason to worry. If you want to know more about all these milestones, if you go to our website, we have an article on website on our website on developmental milestones. And we said for milestones, we give you what we call the cutoff age. If your child is not having that milestone by this age, then you have to see us. So if your child doesn't have neck control after 4 months, you have to see us. Your baby is not yet sitting straight, by 8-9 months, you have to see us. If your baby is not yet walking by 18 months, you have to see a pediatrician. That is when you have to see us. Okay, she's on my answer your question. BC Shams. Good evening, doctor. My 7 month old baby hasn't crawled yet. Crawling is 9 months. Okay. So mothers, you need to know what is normal before you start to get anxious. So please I don't want you to be anxious about anything. All right. So please go and read about normal developmental milestones on our website or on our Facebook group, and then look for the cutoff age. Like I said, cutoff age. Even crawling, we don't have a cutoff age because some babies don't crawl. That's the truth. But walking 18 months, that's when you have to come to see us. There's nothing for you to do. Just leave this baby alone. Can your baby sit? That's what we want baby to do at 7 months. Can baby sit by himself or herself? That's good enough. No need to worry. Okay. I don't know who is Stephanie Okoli and what her question is because all of you are interested in that question, which I think I've answered, but because obviously it's showing as a Facebook user. Please, I know there's not like Jedi, but there are some red patches on your baby's baby armpit. So your baby has, we call it skin rashes. So what you need to do is to see a doctor to know the cause of the skin rash. It could be an infection, it could be bacteria, it could be fungus. So when the doctors make the right diagnosis, they will also give you the right prescription and treatment for the rashes. So that's what we call it. It is not Jedi. Yes, that's it. I'm happy you know that. Okay, Matza, thank you so much for this awesome education. You're welcome. Thank you for joining us. Our time is up. I need to go. Good evening. My baby of 7 weeks has cold. What can I use to relieve the cold? Nothing. Keep your baby warm. Breastfeed exclusively. More importantly, keep your baby away from people that have cold. That's the only way babies get cold, from people that have cold. So avoid people that have colds. Keep your baby warm. Exclusively breastfeed. Baby will be fine. All right. Lizzie say, okay, I think we've answered that question. She's 11 weeks old. So your baby has skin rashes. So skin rashes in that age group, It could be an infection, it could be a reaction to the product you are using. So if you go to our website, we have an article for you on what is a normal skincare, because some of the things we do for our babies, the soap we use, the cream we pour on them, the powder we pour on them, some of them are sensitive to them, some of them are allergic to them. So you have to be careful. So make sure you are using you're not using things your baby is reacting to. Again, hygiene, hand washing. All these people that will come, everybody is carrying baby, carrying baby. Some of them need to wash their hands first before they touch the baby, because they have all these germs on their hand, and bam, they dump it on the baby. So that's number two. And of course, infection too. So those are the things that can cause skin rashes in this particular age group. Unfortunately, we have to see a rash to be able to say this is a cause, to be able to say this is a diagnosis, and then we can give you the treatment. But we can't do that without seeing it. Just saying red patches does not tell us anything. Okay. Yeah, she did not fall or run in school. Just say doctor. You are the one asking about the knee pain. You have to say doctor first. All right. There are more questions you need to ask you. Talk about complementary feeding. I've talked about it several times. I've told you where to get more information. So we have lots of videos. For those of you, if you are on our Facebook, just type into our Facebook group complementary feeding. You will see all the videos we've done on complementary feeding. There's a podcast on infant feeding for the first 1,000 days. There are lots of feeding videos. I think I've talked enough about complementary feeding. You just need to go and watch all those videos, and then you'll be fine. We have articles as well on our website. Just read all of them, all those information, they are there. All right. So I was told, and please don't ignore everything you've been told. Don't take your information from people that are not qualified to advise you. A lot of myths. Okay, I also have done a lot of talking about myths, beliefs that people have that are not necessarily correct. So your baby should not take some Maggi pepper, all that. So how would the baby eat food? So there's something like that. It's not true. So if you cook rice, you don't put salt. You yourself, can you eat it? So how will you not expect a baby not to eat that? The most important thing is moderation. And there's something like your baby does not have to eat spicy food, but your baby can eat pepper. So what I'm saying is that you don't have to cook like a further spicy kind of sauce, but you can put your tomato and all those things in your food for your baby. There's something that's going to happen. So all those these and all those rules made by whoever, please just throw them through the window and go to where you can get the right information from the pediatricians, of course, and that's all the nutritionists. And we have the dietitian. They have also come on this platform to teach you all these things. So don't be following your neighbor or your all these experienced mothers' advice. Most of them, they meant well, but they're always wrong. They just form all these things, and it's not necessarily correct. So go through our guide section. You have all the information you need there, and you'll be fine. 2 years, daughter is not adding up. Weight is 10 kilos. 10 kilos is not too bad. We expect them to be averagely 12 kilos, but 10 kilos is still fair. But make sure they are eating well. The ones it is not to eat a lot. You have to eat the right kind of food. I can eat rice 3 times a day and eat a whole bowl of it. That is eating a lot, but is it the right kind of food? No. That child needs to eat protein. That child needs to eat meat. He needs to eat fish. He needs to eat egg. He needs to eat other, combination of food. So that is what is important. The child needs to eat fruits. He needs to eat veggies. So combination is very important. It's not just to eat a lot. It is what is the child eating. It's to eat it right or eat well. So for us, that is what is important. So again, all this information on our guide section, complementary feeding. 19 months old who is not saying a word has speech delay, you need to see a speech therapist. Okay. You don't need to have history of autism in a family for the child to have autism. All right, that's number one. But the fact that the child is not talking does not mean the child has autism. There are the most common cause of a child who is not talking at 19 months is just speech delay. Some children are just a little bit slow, not that there's anything wrong, but see a speech therapist first, then they will take you up. For you to be autism, there will be other features. It won't just be the speech delay alone. But the fact that the child doesn't have autism in the family does not mean the child cannot have autism. Let's just also keep in that. 20 months old has been slow in teeth development. There's no hurry in producing teeth, okay? Don't worry about it. Child has 6 teeth, not too bad. But you can see your dentist anyway if you are worried about it. There's no reason for you to worry. Okay, this response is quite satisfying. Thank you so much, Doc. Okay, thank you so much for staying with me and listening. Okay, I think I've answered the question. Praise God. 3-year-old boy is always having temperature. No, it's not normal for a 3-year-old to be always having temperature. So that 3-year-old need to see a doctor. Don't just be treating malaria. You need to take the child to see a pediatrician. 19 months old, not yet talking, blah blah. I think I've just answered all this question now. Okay, but you say your baby walk at 9 months, says daddy at 9 months, but just stopped. Okay, and that's why you're asking about autism, because what you just told me is a red flag for autism, actually, because if a child who is talking before stopped, we call it speech regression, and it's also a red flag for autism. It doesn't mean the child will automatically has autism. There's a way we do an autism assessment to give a diagnosis, but it's a red flag. Yeah. So this child needs to see a pediatrician, a developmental pediatrician. It is, some of you go to ENT and all that when your child has all this speech. It's not an ENT problem. It is even the ENT is, in Nigeria some things are not right yet, but the people you really need to see, audiologists, is to do hearing tests. Maybe that's about the only thing that will involve ENT. Otherwise, there's really nothing with ENT. And unfortunately, some of our doctors, they, I always like people to abide in their calling. It is not the role of an ENT doctor to tell you there's something wrong with your child doesn't have autism. An ENT doctor cannot do an autism assessment, so they should not be the one telling you that. So the people you should be seeing is the speech therapist, the developmental pediatrician, psychologists. Some of them can. Those are people that do autism assessment. It's not the ENT doctor. So don't go to people that will tell you there's nothing wrong with your child and they've not done a proper assessment. So please don't. I always recommend you do an M-chat. M-chat is available online. It's free. It will tell you your child is having several traits or not of autism, or that your child needs further assessment. If your child needs further assessment, please see a developmental pediatrician. It is not every doctor that can do autism assessment, actually, in Nigeria. So that's just to say that. Can a baby have autism with no history of autism in the family? Yes. Emphatic yes. Most people that have autism, they never have it in their family before. So it's not always genetic, but there is some genetic then. Does hot water streaming? I don't know what do you mean by hot water streaming. What is hot water streaming? I need to know that today. I don't know what it's. Does hot water streaming have side effects on a child? I'm not sure I know what is hot water streaming. Or is there a word missing? Maybe you need to tell me again. We've done full blood counts. Okay, Mojisola, you've done full blood counts and they told you infection is high. Where is the word? Mojisola, I want to look for your first question. Yeah, okay, your child is always having temperature. Okay, yeah. So it's your if they tell you your child infection is high, then that means the child has infection, and they should treat the infection. And the treatment for infection is not anti-malaria, and it's not malaria. So you said what's the reason? The infection is the reason. I'm not sure I understand your question. So you said the infection is high. Then you're asking what's the reason? What's the reason for infection? The child has infection. Germs are multiplying in the blood. You really need to see your doctor so that they can explain what is going on. The question is what kind of infection, which part of the body. Those are the kind of questions they should be telling you. Unfortunately, it's not something I can do. But your child is having fever too long. Please see a pediatrician. It's not normal. Okay, I think I've answered the question of 7 weeks old and cold. Baby vomiting since morning. That baby needs to go to the hospital. The baby vomiting since morning has to go to the hospital. There is no first aid for vomiting at home. You have to go to the hospital now. Please, let's go. 9 months old weighing 5.5. That is too low. 9 months old should be weighing 9 kilos. So 5.5. What was the birth weight of this baby? Because I'm really worried, because most babies are born at 2.5 or 3 kilos. So if in 9 months baby has only gained 2 kilos or 2.5 kilos, I would be worried. That baby needs to see a pediatrician now, 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 now. So because that child is malnourished and we need to know why, and we need to deal with it. Hot water steam. Oh, you mean steamy? Oh, all right. Okay, because I think you wrote streaming before, so I was like, what is streaming? Oh, I thought it's something there. You see, that's the R has changed the meaning entirely. Steamy. I don't recommend hot water steaming for babies. Please, please, people don't go and burn the babies. Burns is real. I see all the hot water burns. So if you, I don't know why do you want to do the hot water steaming? Your child has cold, blocked nose. Go and buy saline drops to drop in the nose. It will soften the mucus and it will flow. If that is not helpful, please see a doctor. Please avoid hot water issues. Hot waters and babies and infants, they don't match at all. Before you go and start with cold, and then we end up with burns. And burns is more it's more stressful, it's more worrisome for us, and it's painful. So please don't just leave the children alone with just water. Just leave them alone. What food can a new mom eat to increase our breast milk supply? She can eat any food she likes, drink a lot of water, and that's it. I know there are people believe, oh, if you eat this particular thing, or there's breast milk cookie, there's all those things. To be honest, there's no scientific evidence for that. All right. What I know is that put your baby to the breast, let your baby suck on the breast, and make sure you eat normally and drink a lot of water. So if people tell you and swear that this particular one, if you drink, as some people say, if you drink kunu, if you take fenugreek seed and all that, it's up to you if you want to try it. I don't have any problem if you want to try. That's your choice. But as a scientist, we don't think they have any evidence that they work. If they work for you, fine. But please don't drink palm wine and don't take alcohol, because your alcohol can pass through the breast milk to the baby. It will cause brain damage. That is where I draw the line. Every other thing you want to eat, as long as you believe in it, it's fine. All right. Thank you so much. I think I gotta go. Last question on Instagram, then I go. Okay, streaming. Yeah, thank you. I think she meant streaming. Thank you. Yeah, I was wondering what is streaming. That's fine. Does sitting cause fever? No, he does not. Okay, so sitting is a normal development. Just like your baby sit and walk, they bring out their teeth. It's absolutely normal for a child to bring out their teeth without any fever, no symptoms whatsoever. If your child is having fever, please, or any symptom, cough, rashes, whatever, please don't blame it on teething. Take that child to the hospital and let us figure out what is going on. It is not the teeth. It is not. It's not. It's not the teeth at all. All right. Somebody said, did I answer your question of 2-year-old weighing 10 kilos? Definitely, I did answer that question. I just told you that it's fine. Just make sure your child is eating well. Okay, but if you want to get the full one, you can watch the video again. The video is still going to be available after I go off now, so you can always rewind. Those of you that miss when I answer your question, just scroll back, you will get the answer. Don't worry, it's there, and it's always be permanently there on time. Oh, okay, your network was bad. Sorry. All right. Okay, time is up. We have to go now, and 3 weeks, baby, passing girls. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with your baby. Just keep breastfeeding exclusively. Thank you so much for watching. If you still have questions, feel free to post it on our Facebook group. From Monday to Saturdays, we will answer them. Please maximize your opportunity now, because from the 17th of December, we'll be off. We're also going to go visit the Santa. We'll be back on the 8th of January 2024 by the grace of God. God spare all our lives, and we'll wish you have a wonderful time of the year, compliments of the season. I'll see you same time next week. So I guess I have 2 or 3 more sessions of ATP Live before we wind up for the year. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye.